Let's talk about running a YouTube channel for profit. You know, it's quite bizarre if you think about it. Even a single generation ago, people would have found it incredible that it's possible to stay at home, film yourself, and actually make a decent living from it. Or in some people's cases, a pretty indecent living as a result. There are people who are earning millions of dollars as a result of YouTube channels. Now, let me give you a quick background in terms of how this happened to me, how I first monetized my channel, and then I'd like to share some tips and insights with you on how you might do exactly the same thing. So a few years ago, I wrote a book called Is Your Thinking Keeping You Poor? And as part of that, I went and spoke at a university on the same topic. And I had a multiple camera shoot which I actually paid for myself. And without realizing it at the time, it was one of the biggest favors I ever did myself. I uploaded it to my YouTube channel, and at the time my YouTube channel wasn't monetized. Or in other words, the videos were simply going up there as A, part of a marketing effort, and B, realistically just as a hobby for me. It's quite creative and enjoyable to create YouTube videos. Then what I started doing was I created this daily video series, and I still hadn't monetized the channel. That again was just something creative to do and a way of marketing what I did for a living. Now toward the end of last year, something fascinating happened. That video had enjoyed some tens of thousands of views over the course of a few years. And I don't know why, but it then went viral. After having had tens of thousands of views over the course of months and years, all of a sudden it started getting hundreds of thousands of views. And I happened to notice that when it hit probably about 500,000 or 600,000 views, and it was on this steep incline. And as a result of that, I decided to monetize the channel. It would be silly to miss out on all of those clicks and views and not use it as a revenue stream. So I went and learned a little about how to do this, and I educated myself. And perhaps my first tip for you today is everything you want to know about how to become a YouTube personality is available on, wait for it, YouTube. So for instance, if you want to learn how to get better sound, watch YouTube videos on how to get better sound. If you want to improve your lighting, your studio setup, or if you want broader, more general tips on how to get more views on YouTube, YouTube is the first place to go. Go and watch some of the videos on how people do that. And of course, this is an example of just such a video. So I educated myself and I learned a little about how to monetize a channel. The criterion for monetizing a channel is that you have to have had 4,000 watched hours. Now that can be in any format. You can, for example, have been putting out 1-minute videos, and if you have enough people having watched enough of them, cumulatively it will add up to 4,000. Or for example, if you've just got one video that's say an hour long, but 4,000 people have watched it, there you go, that's job done. So you can go into the settings and discover your watched hours and see whether or not you qualify. If you do qualify, you then submit to YouTube. You apply to them and ask them to check out your channel. They will do a review and let you know whether or not you've been accepted. If you are accepted, then you go about building your channel. Now I can tell you something that is both wonderful on one hand and slightly depressing on the other. As you know from watching this, I do this daily video series from amateur to expert. And over the last few weeks, if you go back and have a look at the numbers, you'll see that the average views per video tend to range somewhere between, say, 1,000 to maybe 4,000 or 5,000, with a couple of breakaway videos achieving things like 10,000 views. Now, what I discovered just a couple of days ago is that the big one, the poverty-proof video, has just hit 2 million views, and I'm blown away by that. But what's fascinating to me is that that video is earning more for me than all of my daily videos combined. As I say, that's a tad depressing, because every single day I create a new video, I put out content into the universe, and that one speech that I did all of those years ago is actually bringing in more revenue than every one of the daily videos combined. Well, you know, count your blessings. I mean, it's both depressing and wonderful. So that brings us to another lesson about YouTube and earning revenue. And that is that one well-made viral video will do more for you than daily inserts with lower views. So if you can get one video to accomplish, say, 1 million views, you're going to earn more revenue on that than you would by doing 100 videos that each get you just 1,000 views. That puts your work into perspective. It shows you how worthwhile it is to try to get the right content that does gain a great deal of views, rather than simply putting out a lot of content with low views. Now, in my particular scenario, I'm committed to doing the daily videos because, once again, it's marketing for myself as a speaker and as an author, and it's also just fun to do. But in terms of pure strategy, it would make more sense for me to spend a couple of months planning and do one more such video rather than doing daily smaller ones. From a purely financial perspective, it makes much more sense. The second counterintuitive thing that I've learned is that longer videos tend to do better than shorter ones. Now, I was quite surprised about that. I would have thought that short attention span, 1 minute, 2 minute videos would do very well. However, YouTube themselves say 6 minutes or more, and preferably 8 minutes or more. They actually tend to get the higher viewership numbers, and I found that this bears out. If you go back just a couple of weeks on my channel, you'll see that there is a video there that at the time of this recording was sitting at around 9,000-10,000 views, and that again was a 50-minute presentation. The numbers, of course, may have gone up by the time you watch this. And the third counterintuitive idea that I'd like to share with you is that although a studio setup is easier for you as the content creator, it tends not to perform as well as outside shooting. Something that shows you in your car, at a coffee shop, in a mall, chatting with people, something that looks real vibrant and outdoorsy, generally tends to outperform the more formal studio setup. Now, of course, there's a balance and a trade-off there. It is much harder to record sound, it's much harder to control your environment than what it would be if you have a proper home studio setup. So you've got to ask yourself what your goals are there. And perhaps the final tip, and really this is the most obvious one, but we tend not to think about it as a strategy, and we should, is that it's not just about the information, it's also about the personality. To what degree is your channel, your show, your content enjoyable? How much do they like you? Is there something about you that is humorous, emotive, moving, sexy, fun? Are you interesting to be around? That counts, and it counts greatly. And it brings us back to what I argue is the tried and tested formula for an expert, which is you have to have three things working together. It's the knowledge, it's the personality, and it's the publicity. Most people starting out focus on the knowledge part. Add the personality as well, the humor, the fun, the sense of you and the enjoyment of what you're doing, and that makes a very big difference to your numbers. If you'd like to do us both a favor, won't you go and watch that 2 million view video? One, it helps me in terms of my own numbers, it continues to grow them, and two, it shows you the kind of video that gets 2 million views. Now, of course, that one is a multi-camera shoot and it's a formal presentation at a varsity. You probably know that there are people playing games online who are getting more views than me, and what they have is a little camera mounted above their Mac, and there they are, and it's them, the game, and the viewing public. But if you'd like to watch that video, please click on the link here, and I will also include a link in the description of the video below. It will take you straight to it. Could you earn revenue on YouTube? Could you earn dollars anywhere around the world? The answer is absolutely yes. The key question is just, how do you increase the viewership numbers? And the answer to that may not be daily content. It's that one thing that people love that gets shared broadly. What would that look like in your world?